Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Tuesday, November the 29th. And as you can see with the S&P here, that the market has come down a bit stronger than I thought. I was looking for wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we're going to have to tie it all up in here. We'll talk about the S&P a little bit later in the next video in detail, but I just want to point out that we have broken this particular top here, and we are seeing an impulse wave structure down through here. So we are likely in having a top in place, and one of the reasons that that can help confirm that is the US dollar. So with the US dollar, I was looking for, well, to start with, I didn't know if we've got wave 3 top in here or wave 5 top in here. If we've got a wave 3 top in here, that means that we've pulled back to the wave 4 at the 38.2% retracement level, and we could move up from that point. Now, this is still all unclear. What is clear though is that we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And I knew that I thought it would come down a bit further, and the 5th wave happened a little bit quickly. And if I can just take the time to go in there and just look at that. So yesterday when we were counting, we had wave 3 here, we had wave 4 here, and then we were looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, and we called that top in, and we're looking for wave 5 down. It cleared this one, didn't quite clear this one here. So it is starting to show like an impulse wave here. So in one way or another, we're going to see that impulsive. And because it's 5 waves, then we're going to see another move. Now, it may only go up to here and then come down again at that point. It's something that we'll have to see. But it is at a stage where, as I mentioned before, that once this comes in here, then it's going to push indices down, commodities down, etc., etc., etc. And the other one is the US dollar yen here as well. It's basically the US dollar, and the yen is pretty in bad shape at the moment. This was, this high at 150 here was back in 1988 when the BOJ intervened in the market. But anyway, what I was looking for here is, this is also help. The reason I'm showing this for it helps me understand that if I go back to my daily chart here for a moment, this particular pattern up here, looking at this as an A wave here, an A and a B and a C, well, actually a WXY. But this move, first leg down here, I've always mentioned that it is 5 waves, but the 3rd wave's a little bit short, and the 4th wave just overlaps wave 1 a little bit, so it makes it a little bit corrective. So I wanted to take on the yen here, and we can see that it's in, I could go wave 1 here and 2 here and 1 here and 2 here, that kind of thing, but it's better suited as an 8, so it's better as a corrective pattern here. So it's quite possible that the US dollar can strengthen against the yen here, but we'll also be a little bit mindful of how this pushes up here as well. We'll keep a bit of an eye on it. But if that low's in place and that pushes up, well, then that's certainly going, and the same here, it's certainly going to put a lot of pressure on everything really. So yeah, so that's that. So it does appear that that markets do have a top in place, and that means that we have to look at all the stocks with this doing the same thing as well. Now, we've had some stocks like Amazon and Tesla and already bearish, and we've had the banks just needing to make one more little top, which they have. So those tops are in. Berkshire Hathaway top is in, and Microsoft and Google, they were sort of quite close to their tops as well. One of them finished off quite well, the other one hasn't. So there's leaders and followers, but basically what we need to do is we need to have a look at all the markets in a bearish mode. That's the thing that we need to do. Okay, so with Apple here, I need to go back a step. I was looking for one more little move to come in up through here to finish it off. It's not the case, so I will have to look at this down here as a 5-wave move here, as wave 1 and 2. Now I'll give this some thought. I've had to, you know, because I just basically get up at sort of 2 or 3 in the morning, do a couple of hours meditation, and then sort of roll into the into my work, and I don't get a lot of time to mull things over and ponder and those sorts of things. So I will ponder in the off hours about this, but for the time being with Apple, we'll look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3, 4, 5 as 1 here, an A and a B and a C for 2 here, down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2. So basically what we can do here is we can pretty much, I mean, this from the bottom here to the top, this box is the 61.8%. So we should see some sort of you know, little corrective rally come into play here, and that will be quite handy, because that means that we can just put a line under here and look to go short at that point, you know, on that sort of retest. So I'll just move through a little bit quickly here. This is NVIDIA. We'll do the same. Apple and NVIDIA, we can do the same as 1 and 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third wave, fourth wave, and then all of the fifth wave at this point for wave 1, an A and a B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 2, and then look at this here as 1, 2. So basically here somewhere, I haven't actually had a good chance to pull it apart. It looks like it's going to come down further. The next level, that's 165 minor group 2. We can go 160, 158 will be the next level there. So we'll probably see this bounce from this point, and it's in this bounce with all of them. It's okay to have a small short position at the moment, as long as you can carry the heat on any retracement, and then we can look to move in at that point. So something like this we can look for in the setup. There's a long way to go, so don't feel like you're missing anything. If you feel like you're missing something, if you normally sell 100 shares, well then just sell 15 or 10 or something, you know what I mean? And we'll keep building into it. With Amazon here, we're looking at Amazon as being wave 1 down here. And yesterday when we spoke, I think we were around here somewhere, and we had the A wave in, and we're looking for this A wave, B wave, and C wave here. It's not really the best ABC pattern, you know, you probably go WXY on that, but anyway, it came in, hit our target, and then raced up here. So really, you know, I could look at this as wave 1 with an A and a B and a C. That's why I need to mull things over a little bit. But basically, I think that we're in here. We're not too far away from our target. I think our target was a little bit higher. So now we've got to find a way in, and just to sort of frame things a little bit, we're at the 61.8%. So basically it looks like this wants to come down further with 1 and 2 here, and some sort of third wave and fourth and fifth. So it's going to come back down into 93 here, and that will be past the 61.8%. so that will probably give us 5 waves down here, and then have some sort of bounce here. Like I said, you could sell a few here if you wanted to, and you probably got something in the market somewhere. But then we could look at shorting at this point, because it kind of, the other point with this too, if this is 5 waves here, which it looks like it is, and then that will give us 5 waves over here, but that's actually only 3 waves, you know. Do I actually need to put the B wave over here for that? I don't think so, but I'm just saying that we don't have 5 waves. And even if you took this here as 1 and 2 here, and then down for 3, which would be a bit longer, and then 4, and then 5 down here. So we're going to come down to these old lows, and there's going to be some sort of retracement here as well for that, you know. So just think ahead a little bit, just things that you'll need to accommodate. You might think to yourself, okay, well look, why don't I just wait for this setup on 93, there's good support there, I'll get a small position here, and I'll let it come down, and I won't get out. I'll just wait for the retest, or I'll sell 50% and then I'll check that 50% back in on the top here. And it's always nice to leave some skin in the game, even if it's just a little bit. It gives you something to work off, you know. So we don't have 5 waves down here yet for this to confirm it's going to go lower. Now, it's the same for meta platforms as well. We were looking at this being wave 4 and also wave 4 up here. I could see that we could easily look at this as 1 and 2 here and 3, 4, 5 here. So that's also going to give us another 5 waves over here, but that could just take us back to the 61.8%. There was a good case for having 5 waves up to this point. So yeah, I mean, once again, by all means, you can look to short a very small amount, and then we could look to build some under the 100 if things look good, you know, because we'll be going down to 80 and 50 if that's going to be the case. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, like I said, there's a long way to go. There's a long way to go down in all of these. So if we've actually got the top in place, with Netflix here, we're also looking, we counted 5 waves down. We're looking for an ABC for wave 2. I was looking for something a little bit higher, I think it was up here, but we're just not getting that. The market's rolling over and the bigger stocks are pulling the other ones around and so on. So that's what's happening. There's plenty of news coming out this week. I think Jeremy Powell speaks on Wednesday as well. Okay, now for Enphase here, I don't like things turning into losses when you've got a profit in. So we've got this position, this one and this one. So I'm putting a stop here. I mean, it's dropped down a little bit since I've done this, but yeah, we've got to protect everything. As I mentioned yesterday, I mean, this has got a good bullish case here, and you know, it could certainly move up again here. Now, if it does that, we'll build a strong position in here and we'll build a strong position on here. But because the market's rolling over, I was a little bit concerned about this, about how this finishes off here, and I was talking about this particular pattern here with this having some, you know, just nipping the top out here like the S&P has done. It hasn't done it on the futures, it's only done it on the cash market. We'll talk about that in the next video. But looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here, and some sort of ending diagonal sort of sitting here, you know, that's what I was afraid of, in line with the other markets. So I want to protect what we have here, and as you know, with all the things, you don't let a profit turn into a loss unless there's a good reason. So with Tesla here, we were counting up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yesterday. The spike there, I mean, I probably wouldn't bother too much about the spike. I would just normally do that, but anyway, it's there, so we can't ignore it. And then an ABC, and then I was looking for another 5 up here for the C wave, but just we're in the zone here, but in the right zone. But I just don't really have a nice 5 wave structure here. But that's the thing, you know, markets don't always top the way that you want them to. So I think that we really need to take just that on board. But you know, let's just give it a bit of a session. Let's see if we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to come down, and then, excuse me, some sort of you know, retracement here for that. But we're definitely in the downtrend here. That's what we're looking at, you know, like wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, so to speak. So yeah, we had a bullish and bearish picture for this, but let's just see how that how this plays out. Let's get a nice impulse wave down here. We'll get a bounce off the 180 in the next session if that's going to be the case. And Google and Microsoft. So we looked at this being a wave, possible wave. I could count 5 waves up here for wave, because basically we got a bit weird, but we've got wave 1 over here, and then an A wave here, and then an ABC for the B wave here, and then counting 5 waves up here for wave 2. But this just looked like a wave 4 to me, but it looks like we're going to have to remove the wave 4, keep this 5-wave structure here for this and look at this here as 1 and 2 here, and then remove that here and put this wave 2 here, and then switcheroo around these dudes and look at 5 waves coming here. So there will be a bit of a bounce coming back at that point. So look, like I mentioned, we'll look at a lot of this tomorrow in terms of just to see how things sort of play out. But it does appear that we've got 5 waves here, right? So we're going to get 5 waves down here. 95 is the closest largest number, and then we're going to get some sort of correction here. Now what it does is it exposes you know, it does look like 5 waves up here, by the way, as 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the third, fourth, fifth. So maybe a truncated 5th wave, but I'll talk to that. We'll look at that when we look at Microsoft as well. But all I'm trying to say here is that if we get 5 waves down here, we're going to be exposed with some sort of low being in place, and it's that low that's going to help us go into the short trade at that point. So let it come down, let it bounce, and then go short underneath of that, and then that will be there. So this one here looks like 5 waves, but just never made a new high here. But it was interesting that this is Microsoft here. Microsoft just took out the top here. Now, I've had that as wave 4, had that as wave 1, and I was looking at this being wave 3 here because it was nice and long, but that's not the case. I'll have to put this back over here and look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, unless I look at this as a triangle pattern and put wave 4 all the way over here. But whichever way you want to look at it, what you can see now is you can see that we're getting that impulse wave down here. Now, I don't know if that's quite finished. It will come in on these lows here, and it'll come in around the 240. So that's where we'll get that bounce from. And then we'll need to look at this as wave 2. Now, the other thing this could be is an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave over here for wave 4. So the reason I'm showing that for is because it will just make you think a little bit and just be a little bit careful about what you do. Because if this is going to be an A wave and a B wave and a C wave down here, which I don't think it is, but there will be 5 waves coming down here, and then it's going to bounce. So if you short it now, you could get trapped in a situation where it just continues back up here. But if you short it under here, then you're going to be safe at that point. Now that move up there can be in 3 waves as an ABC pattern, and you can short that as the B wave there. That's not a problem, because even if it was bullish, that would be 1 and 2, you know. So you can move this over to this point here, and you know, you can also add under the next low there as well. But that's what we'd be looking at this point for that. So I'll just push that into the middle there, but we're looking more on the bearish side because the SP500 is overlapping, so we need to put this in over here. I'm not quite sure if we need to put it here. Probably, maybe I'll get the 5 waves up into this one as 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll have to check it out. It doesn't really matter though. I probably won't have time to check it out, but we're looking at this top here now. So I wasn't far off with everything. It's just, and this was a really weird count too. I mean, this is the same as Google here. With Google here, we've got wave 1 here, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. Yeah, and then this one over here is the same as well with wave 1 here, the A wave. They had their earnings here, so it just really made a very difficult structure to count here. But I mean, obviously it's got 5 here, but this is a little, you know, that's just a gap basically here. So, but the wave 1 here with the A, the B, and the C over here for wave 2. Now, can this be wave 1 coming up here? That's possible. So on our journey going down, but we'll need to look at the indices and everything else over here, there's going to be good support at the 61.8%. When you take the top and the bottom here, there's always going to be support at the 23, the 38, the 50, the 61, the 78. When you come down, most of them will have some sort, so it's good to know them. That's what I'm pointing out. So we'll need to see when we get here that we want to see 5 waves to this point. we don't want to see 3 waves to the 61.8%. We want to see 5 waves to the 61.8%, because that will help us with our next leg to the downside, and that's going to be the fast one here. This is just to warm you up here. You know, this will be down for 1 here, back for 2 in 3 waves, and then we'll come down fast, quite, you know, come down with a bit of speed at that point. So there's lots of, you know, we're just in the beginning of all of this, so all good at that point, you know. Actually, I need to put Google there first, and then Microsoft. So this is Berkshire Hathaway here. We were looking at this being, or counting 5 waves up here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'd say we got a top in play here looking at this now. So this is also, you know, shortable now. You can just, this hardly moves anywhere. You can just short it here and put the stop above here if you wanted to. But that's that really. So, you know, I was looking at this in both ways. We can look at it as a bullish move as wave 1, or we can look at it as C of B here. But once again, we've got a pretty good run. We'll have a pretty good run back to, well, obviously the 300 is going to get in the way, but we'd be looking down here at that. So we got into our target. Everything was pretty much the way that we thought it was. If this is correct, if the bearish count is correct, then this is what we're looking at over here for this. We're looking at 5 waves down here, and then the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave over here. It doesn't count very nicely as a 5-wave structure here, so the weight of this being a C wave over here is quite good at that point. I know that we could look at this like we've done with the S&P and stuff, is looking at this here as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here. But I never really got a nice 5-wave structure out of any of this. So this is kind of what we're sort of aiming for here. And it kind of gives me a nice thing, as I've always said with the S&P, this as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave here. The C wave was always just a little bit small compared to wave A. It's doable, but this looks a little bit more proportional here. The size of this, and this leg here will have some sort of relationship to this. So this little 5-wave structure here, you see this first little move here? We're not even in that yet. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So it's really this one over here, because this one over here, this pulls back 60%. So once we get our first 5 waves down here, we're going to get a 60% pullback, you know. This is the one that does the damage. So any positions in here are really we just try to short the little tops in all of these. That's what we do. And then we short them when we get 5 waves here. We can start shorting and adding to new lows coming into play. But, you know, looking at this here gives you a bit of an idea of what we could expect over here. That's if, of course, this is just not all wave 1 here and back for wave 2, and then we were in a bullish move up there. That's, you know, something that we have to work through. We just got to go step by step with this, of course. And square. So with square here, we were counting this top here, and we're counting 5 waves down. And I was looking higher up here as a thing up here to come up here. I had this up here, and I was like way off here, but I was looking for a C wave up here. I was looking for the top of the A wave, and then the B wave over here, and the C wave up here. It could still be the case, but because the other markets are coming down pretty hard and fast, then we probably need to look at this. You know, I can leave that there, but you know, I think we really need to put this wave 2 into bed here. So what will happen here if this is the case? We've got this low here, and the closest largest number is 60, so we can put that on to 60. So you can kind of imagine that this is going to sort of come down here and then bounce back at that point, back into supply between 62 and 63 in there. Somewhere from that top there, somewhere through there is the balance point for all of this, and then we'll come down again. So as long as you know that, then you know where we're at with this. So, and also too, if we can establish 5 waves here, we've probably got this as wave 1 and 2, and this is probably the 3rd wave happening. We still need the 4th and the 5th, but it could be the B wave here as well. So I think just allowing it to mature a little bit. Like I said, if you wanted to short it, then you can, you know, your indicators are suggesting that you can short it, well then just use a much smaller amount at this stage. Okay, over to the banks. Now, the 3 banks that we follow, 2 of them have made new highs and the other one hasn't. So as far as I can see and see what's happening, it's basically, we could probably put this in here. Now, just to confirm this here, if this low is breached here, then we can be on our merry way at that point. Well, kind of, you really want that to be, this is, where's this at here? So we want 380. That's at 380. And then the next, we got 365, 365, and then 72 in here. So all of this is group 2 here. So with group 2, once try to think of it, the market is really, the closest largest number is this number here, and normally I would short this number if group 2 here became the resistance. And is it resistance at the moment? No, it's not. So what we'll do is we'll drop this down to, if the 72 becomes the resistance, you could do it. You could do a small, because of where the markets are at the moment, you can do a small position in here and just put the stop above here, above the top at the moment. We'll just paint that red. But just don't overdo it at this stage, you know. And then we'll look to, once this group 2 here becomes the resistance, then we know that we can be on the way down into this here. So this one here, we'll just make this a very thin line, and in fact, probably Goldman's is not the one to short really, because it's the strongest, you know. So let's just have a look at, this is Bank of America here. It didn't make a new high here from this wave 4. So this is also group 2 here, by the way, as well. So we can just put the stop above here. So we'll just paint that red, and then we'll put a green one. We could put a very small position in here, and we'll just put that the way it is. But because the thing we have to understand here is that, you know, what about if this wave 4 needs to come over here with an A and a B and a C wave here? So that's the, you know, that's where the risk is at the moment. We don't have a clear, you know, 5-wave structure to the downside. And this is all of group 2 here. So from 30, we've got 1, 2, 3 that make up group 1, then 5, and then 8. When we talk about 8, we talk about group 2, which is the 65 number, which is 3650 here. So that's 3650, and the other one will be here, will be 3720. So what we want to do here, we want this 3650 to become the retested resistance. So we need to make the first low below the level there, and then if that's breached, then we could go from it at that point. Sorry about that, just wanted to clear those web pages out the way. And yeah, so we're really looking for, you know, a bear at that 3650. We're looking for the first low below the level, then the correction, and then shorting it at that point. So that's the weakest one, so that'd be the one to short. Morgan's have made a new high, so we're at our box here as well, so that's all good. So we could put this in here and call that top in play now for that. and put this, we can look at this in two different ways as well. We've been looking at it as an A wave down here with an ABC back into the 50-60%. We need to be mindful, and we need to look at it also as wave one. If that is a top there as a B wave, then the C wave is going to make a new low here, and it's going to fail to find support on top of 30 here, and that will be another place you can short it when that becomes the retested resistance. What we do need to be mindful of is the bullish side of the market. So that's not the tool that I wanted, so it's this one here. So what we want to see is we want to see 5 waves basically, or at least some sort of impulsive wave rather than a corrective wave to this point. If we get 3 waves to that point, to the 61.8%, then we could look at the market being bullish. But if we get 5 waves to that point, then we can look at being bearish at that point. And that's it. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.